Everybody. So we bit of alchemy. I'm Rick Barrett. Welcome. Today I'd like to continue the exploration into self-training the the primary jins of Tai Chi Chuan. And re, re, just to explain that again, the jin is where you're expressing energy through your body, and it's directed by your consciousness. And so the four primary jins in Tai Chi are Pong, Lu, Ji, An. And Pong is practice in the ward off posture. Lu is practice in the rollback posture. Ji, is practice in the press posture. And An is practice in the push. So today we'd like to dig into the Ji. It's a little tougher to self-train, but I'm going to discuss and really get to some of the nuances of the energy, because it's there is quite a bit of subtlety to the Ji expression. But first, we are now in springtime, which is quite a statement since I've got 30 inches of snow that here in Staten Island is sitting on the ground, and more is coming tonight. And so that still says winter to my mind. But if I listen real close, I can hear the crocuses and the daffodils kind of pushing up to the frozen earth. And as soon as that snow parts, you're going to see little green shoots coming up. And so that is an expression of wood chi. So wood is what we have in, and it's a good metaphor, the snow on the ground there, because the water element is cold and wet, and snow is cold water, and so it's there, and we're having the wood is just gradually coming into being here. So it's kind of a good metaphor there, in that it's still hidden by the snow, it's still hidden by the water element, but it's poking its nose out. So we're going from the maximum yin of winter and water and going into more yang. So there's this expansion as we move towards summer, and the element of wood, it corresponds to the liver and the gallbladder, and which corresponds also to the hun, the soul. And so we have a kind of an idea there that in the Chinese model of the soul, it's the element, the aspect of spirit, of your spirit, that is reaching toward a higher state of awareness, toward, in their model, and it's going from earth into heaven, and it's you're fulfilling your heavenly contract. And so there's this tendency to expand your awareness and to refine yourself so that you're able to better live in the world in a harmonious way in accordance with Tao. So so we have that spiritual element there with the wood also. So one thing that I have found really lightning fast way to access the wood element is through the fingernails. And that's because part of the wood element relates to in addition to the liver and the gallbladder, relates to the connective tissue system, your sinews, your fascia, your ligaments, your tendons. And whenever you access your fingernails, imagine that you have claws there at the tips of your fingers, and it triggers this response in your connective tissue system. And immediately it brings everything onto into a higher state of readiness. It activates your connective tissue system, very much like what we do whenever we point and reach with the index fingers to create energetic coherence. Only this has a more of a more of a specific flavor to it, and that is that yang wood element there, that expansive kind of there's an itchiness to get on with it, to make things happen. So we'll play a little bit with that first, and then we'll go into the next posture, which is Chi, which is spelled Ji, which corresponds to the press in the Tai Chi form, and we'll talk about that as we're doing it, and really get into the feeling of that, and how do we feel our Jin, in our Ji Jin, whenever we're doing that. So please stand up. Okay, let's begin with our 3 pillars. Feet about a hip width. Do your 3 nails. Heel, ball of the foot, big toe on the big toe line, the medial line. Really just sink into that. Bend your knees, allow yourself to soften your knees. So just kind of sink down, relaxing some of the muscular tension in your legs that causes you to push away from the earth. And just feeling yourself letting go of that tension and realizing that, you're not going to fall over. There's still a lot of structure there, which is doing the job for you. Now sink at the heel nail, both feet. And you want to really get very sung. You want to sink down, relax, let go of even more muscular tension. So each time you exhale, find yourself just letting go a little more. Accessing that yin chi of the earth. So like those daffodils, we're feeling that yin chi bubbling up through the bubbling well points in the center of the foot, and reaching upward. That's that yin energy. Now reach with the crown of your head and tuck in your chin, while continuing to sink into your feet, into the earth chi. You're now also reaching up, opening up the jade pillow gate and accessing the yang chi of the heavens. That opening up, and imagine that coming through the Bai Hui point at the top of your head, the yang chi of the heavens, filling your body with a very insubstantial energy, but a very yang, expansive energy. And we're having these 2 poles in opposition, your feet and the crown of your head, without straining at anything. Go and reach with your index fingers and feel that energetic coherence. Now go into the balls of your feet and feel that you're moving more toward a yang energy now. Feel your big toes pressing down a little bit. Not much, just feeling the ground with your big toes. The subtle changes that come when you activate your energetic coherence. Now feel your fingernails. Imagine claws there. Just really kind of grasp with those claws very subtly, but feel that and feel the activation of your connective tissue as you do that. You can feel it in your hands, up your arms and your shoulders, down your back, your feet. And just allow yourself to fill up with that wood chi. Feel that sense of expansion. You're reaching upward. Reach with your elbows, open up your shoulder joints. Now open up your quad. Swing quad, spiral down, and to the other side. Very soft, very gentle. You're releasing muscular tension. You're not forcing anything. You're kind of sitting down into your hip joint, sitting down into your legs, and just allowing the energy to flow more freely between your torso and your legs, allowing that free exchange of yin and yang chi, the big chi in your body. The fingernails activating the connective tissue system allows you to steer the energy. You're not telling it where to go so much, but you're just creating a space for it. You're creating an opening there, an opportunity for the energy to move and to take on new forms in your body. Now sink into your heels, relax and feel the yin energy as you release down. Go into the balls of your feet, set your knees, press down with the big toes, reach up with your wrists. Let your fingers hang. And reach with the fingers. Feel those fingernails. And pull them back. Reach back with your elbows and pull back. Then press down and let that go. You give the balls of your feet, reach with your wrists, fingers are relaxed, hanging. Press down with your big toes, reach, feel those fingernails. Use just kind of you're scraping back with the fingernails as you pull back, sink into your heels, and press down. One more, sink into the balls of your feet. Press down with the big toe, reach with the fingers, feel those fingernails, pull back, scrape, sink into the heels and let go. And just pause a moment, feel into your body and just notice the changes that are occurring there, the subtle changes, the energy movement, the changes in your blood flow. Allow your interoception to just tune into your changes of state. So in exploring Jins, one thing we've been doing the last few weeks, I like to just do it again very briefly here, and that is to really get we're self-training this to really get very Sung at first. So you just grab your wrist and just let it hang there so that if you let go of the wrist, the hand just drops. And so this is a complete relaxation. Grab the wrist, bring it up, reach it out there, and then just drop it and feel it just let it go. It's just hanging loosely. Okay. So then we pick it up, bring it up in front, and it just hanging very loosely. This time though, we point and reach with the index fingers. And we also activate those claws, those fingernails, and just relax your arm as much as you can and slowly let go of the wrist with your other hand, and this time it doesn't drop. It's just using the least amount of muscular force necessary to hold that in position. And so just feel the stability of that posture, because what we've done here is we've connected up the connective tissue system. We've utilized that in a way that enables us to create forms without a lot of muscular effort. And then just very gently push down on your wrist. As you do that, reach out with your index finger and just press down a little harder. Just feel that finger, and notice that as you create more pressure, your body increases its internal pressure to meet that external force coming from your other hand. And then you let go and you just allow that to hang out there. And then you bring your hand down. And then let's do it with the other hand. We bring it up, really get nice and relaxed, and let it drop. Again, let it drop. Good. Now we pick it up, point, and slowly let go, and just let the internal pressure in the body take over. The chi fills up. It's like filling up a hose. You just, the hose can get very stiff, if you fill it up with a lot of water pressure. But it's the internal power there that is making it strong. And then push down and just gradually allow yourself to balance out internal and external pressures using the least amount of force. So we're training our bodies here to override the primitive stress responses that activate muscular tension. And let that go, hands come down. Ordinarily, whenever we reach a counter effort, we reach resistance, there is a natural tendency to activate muscular tension. It's kind of built into our DNA. So in Tai Chi, what we're doing is we're learning how to expand beyond that. We're learning an alternative to that approach, where we're using Jin as opposed to muscular effort, or Li in the vernacular. So in training our Jins, we are using the same method here. Jins come in many different shapes and sizes and directions, flavors, and as we train them, we want to provide just enough external resistance to be able to activate the Jin without triggering that stress response. And if we do that often enough, then we can then apply this in life. It becomes more of our default setting, but that takes a bit of practice. But if you include that into your Tai Chi practice, if every time you do the form, you're doing it not just to go through the choreography of the movements, but you're actually activating your Jin, taking every opportunity to explore your Jin and having some curiosity about which Jin is being used in that particular posture. Then you become more familiar with an insubstantial aspect of yourself and the world. And as you learn to understand Jin, then that opens up to spiritual illumination, according to the classics. So, but we move from the substantiality of considering ourselves meat and bones to we start to get really present with the energy field, and we start to understand that, and then that opens up to even more insubstantial aspects of our being. That's where we get into the realm of spirit. So let's do some work with the Ji. So the basic idea in Ji is that we are, well, ordinarily a press looks something like this, where let's say we're doing it from the Yang Cheng Fu posture. So we're coming from the roll back, and then we come along here and we bring our hands together like this in front of our body. Okay. Now there's a number of ways you can do Ji. You can do it with a very common way is the palm of my left hand goes onto the heel of my right hand. And we take that kind of thing. Other people do it like with the left hand and the right wrist. So then you have that kind of action. I've seen it also where you have the backs of the hands, where there's like something like that, where you're pushing like that. So basically, the basic idea is both arms are coming together at a point so as to direct energy in a very focused way. And that means it's a very yang expression. That means yang means up and out, expanding, and so it's a very directed way. So in the posture we're going to just bring the palm of the hand to the heel of the other hand. And the fingers, you want them open. You want them open like that. You don't want to bring your hands, wrap them around like this, where they're making two fists together. It's like they're like you're making shadow puppets with your fingers. So you have that you're expanding with that. So we have this yang expression, which is directing in toward a specific point. Okay. And in the Yang Cheng Fu, we want to really center it over that front leg, and the back leg is kind of straight, and kind of lines up with the back, and you're extending outward. The other thing too is your elbows are reaching out. So I've seen people kind of do their press, with their elbows dropped and kind of like this. It's like there's nothing there. You really want to open. What that does is it opens the shoulders and really creates a very strong structure. And so the structure does the work for you. And you really don't need to do a lot of muscular activity to support that. You're reaching with your elbow. That opens the shoulder joints and allows the chi to cascade down your arms toward your fingers. And we get that. So we have this yang expression here. To counterbalance that, we need yin, and that's coming from our foundation. So the idea here is we want to really release down. So very much like the the sung that we talked about when in our three pillars. Same idea here. You're sinking down. You're releasing your quad. You're dropping down into your legs, and so one of the mistakes I see people doing a lot with this is there's a tendency to kind of to push away from the earth to direct they're pushing away to get a muscular activity there that creates kind of momentum pushing forward, which can be effective on a strictly mechanical level, but it misses the Jin part, which takes it into a whole other category. So what we want to do is connect up to the big chi, so that we're not having to do a whole lot of work with this. And whenever we push away from the earth like this, we're uprooting ourselves. We're unplugging from the source of our energy there, and we're kind of turning ourselves into a projectile. And what we want to do is sink in as we extend out. We reach with the elbows, reach with the fingers, reach with the crown of your head. And each breath you sink down a little deeper into your quad, into your legs. Really just feel into that. I'll do it this way. So it's like, you can see it's like there's an expansion there. So you can feel, when you're testing this, you can feel several things, but one thing is the outside hand, in this case my right hand, is actually coming in. It's actually there's a yin energy to that. It's pulling in as my left hand is reaching out. So there's a squeezing together with them that creates this poles in opposition. So usually we talk about the poles in opposition by separating them and creating that energy this way. This time we're bringing them together. We're compressing them together to create the energy, but it's not a tight pressing. In fact, you know that you can think of it as like if you were to have a butterfly between your hands, you know, you would not harm it. So there's the pulling in and the pushing out are happening at a very insubstantial level. You can think of it as using imagination to get that started till you imagine it until you feel it. So you're just having that, and you've got that little butterfly in there, but you're pulling in with your right arm, you're pushing out with your left arm, and that is creating these poles in opposition. You're sinking down into the earth with the lower half of your body. You're reaching up with the crown of your head and reaching out with your hands and your elbows. That's more of a yang. So we get these poles moving in different directions. So what we create here is this kind of a bulldozer that an energetic bulldozer that is directing energy outward. And it's easy to do with a partner. Your partner just grabbed your wrist, and you just, what you're doing there, what you're testing is, can I do this without muscular tension? How much can I let go and still be able to create that internal compression of chi to allow that expansion? And so your partner could do that. But if you don't have a partner, how do we test this out ourselves? And so one way to do it would be to just find a door or a wall. It doesn't have to be substantial much, but let's say if I go to the wall over here, can we see it? Here we go. I'm just going to create that G energy and feel the wall and feel myself expanding through the wall without forcing it, and feeling the contact between my two hands to be very soft. So what we're creating is an energy bubble that we can then direct and in a very powerful way. And just keep going back to sinking down. Each time you breathe, you reach out with the elbows, you reach out with your wrists, the fingers. Reach with the crown of your head, tuck in your chin, and feel that the power in that posture. Okay. So now let's get 21. Okay. So now we're going to we're going to go from the roll back to the press, back to the roll, back to the press. Do that as a repetitive thing, really slowly, so we can actually feel into the movement from the Lu energy of the rollback, which is a down and in energy, to the yang expansiveness of the Ji energy, the press, and then back to the Lu energy again. So we're going to go back and forth between those two. Okay, so let's I'll do it this way. Here we go. Let's just start from the press and really establish that. We want to feel your 3 nails in both feet. Feel the contact with the earth. You feel yourself sinking down into your right quad. Reach with the crown of your head. Feel your spine lengthening. Your back leg is almost straight. You're reaching out with your elbows. Reach with your fingers. Okay, feel your right hand pressing in as your left hand is pressing out, creating these poles in opposition with very little actual force being applied. Your hands may feel hot as they compress. Just spending some time here in this posture acquaints you with that feeling, that insubstantial feeling. And then we sink into the right leg open, sink into the left leg. And this is where we go into the Lu energy, the down and in energy. It's like the hands sinking down. And we covered this last time about how to train with that. This is not an empty form. There is internal power being applied in this movement. And sink, reach up with your wrists. So notice that I've got my fingers are relaxed here, they're dangling. This is, going back to the introductory exercise there where we just have that wrist, or you're just picking up your arms, your fingers are dangling. That creates that soft power, that potential that we're going to activate now. Now we're going to sink into the right, push the right knee forward, sink into the right heel. And as you do that, spiral down a little bit to the left. So notice how I'm facing you. I've spiraled to the left because anytime I'm going to turn to the right, I want to first spiral down to the left. Because now I'm going to turn my body. And as I do that, I rotate my right forearm and my left hand meets my right hand, fingers extend. I reach with my elbows, reach with the crown of my head, tuck in my chin. Reach my wrist, feeling that energetic compression between my two hands. Feeling the energy directing forward with my chi. And then spiral down to the right, open. Sink into my left heel and turn and low. Very yin. Feel into the yin of that. Feel your three nails. Sink into the heel. Reach with your elbows. Set those. Reach with your wrists. Fingers come up. Nice and soft. Sink into the heel of the right foot. Spiral down to the left. Get very swung there. You're gathering. And then turn. Reach with your elbows, fingers. Your right turn. Take your left heel. Turn. Feel the left ball, the left big toe. Reach with your fingers. Open your shoulders. Reach with your elbows. Feel the chin in your rollback posture. Take your left heel. Wrist come up. Reach with your elbows. Open your shoulder joints. Feel the potentiality in that movement. Take your right heel. Spiral down to the left. And then turn. And press. Reach with the elbows, reach with the crown. Feel yourself sinking down into the earth. Release your core. Relax your muscles in your legs. Feel yourself sinking. Even as you expand upward, the more you sink down, the more you expand upward. Yeah, one more. Feel very slowly. Feel that blue energy as you're pulling down. Sink into your left leg, sink into your right leg, and turn. Get your left leg open. Step back. Feel that yang expansion. Feel those claws. your fingernails. Feel the wood chi circulating throughout your body. Let's come down. Feel the energy circulating. Feel the Ji Jin. So this is a type of Jin which comes from just one body, one energy. It's not directed like other Jins. It's just your body in a state of wholeness. Feel into that state of wholeness. Body, mind, and spirit all integrated. One unbroken whole, the Tai Chi. Step in. Deep breath. Come to the balls of your feet. Press down with the big toes. Feel the yang expansion. Sink into your heels. Reach down with your elbows and disappear the chi. Please have a seat. Scott.
So I was noticing that no matter how much I tried not to crush the butterfly, I was crushing the poor little butterfly.
Yeah.
And then
That will haunt your dreams.
and then I'm not sure how this came to me, but I started to imagine like when somebody you know the very rare times where I did like a perfectly effortless push, or more often when somebody else was giving me a perfectly effortless push. And I like felt that feeling while I was doing it, and then the butterfly was able to breathe and was
Mhm.
happy. Butterfly is saved.
I see a children's book here. Jonathan, you're on mute,
You're on
Jonathan.
mute, Stan.
I too was crushing butterflies. Um, one of the things I found though was if I'm pressing too hard, my hand on my heel, I lose the nails in my hands. In other words, it's like it interrupts the energy from my fingers out there. It's like, but if I loosen up a little bit, let that butterfly live, more of the hands come back. So I
Hmm.
don't know. I had, you really that you've taught us to push so much, but I forgot about the butterfly part because I thought, okay, here's the time to be at least, come on, it says push, so at least push a little bit here. But too much, the slightest over contact cuts me off. So
You're kinking the hose.
kink in the hose in some way, yeah. Also,
Yeah.
I remember from when I brought Master Yang to the Open Center how much he emphasized the nails. He talked about that a lot. It's the simplest possible thing to do for yourself, and I've gone decades forgetting it. I don't know why. I mean, pointing I get, I never forget that. But this is even subtler, and it has tremendous benefits. And talk about something. Why stop doing it? I mean, any chance you can think about Tai Chi, do your nails. I realize it's a spring thing, but is it? Or is it that which we could really just do out throughout the day, every day of the year?
Wood energy is always there.
Okay.
So it's just a question of whether or not it's stepping into the spotlight or not.
most of the mischief I get into is with my hands, you know, picking at my nose, my teeth, whatever. So anything I can do to say, hey, get energetic, you know, and, you know, okay, pointing, but pointing is like, hey, how come he gets all the attention? But here it's like everybody gets in, everyone's in.
Everybody gets a turn. Like a participation trophy.
Right.
Richard.
With what Jonathan was saying about his hands, what I'm noticing is that I think that I'm growing because my hands feel full almost all the time now.
Beautiful.
And I'm realizing that when I lose the fullness in my hands, that I'm sliding back again.
That's a really good barometer. Good insight there, Richard. Right. Barrett.
This is such a, I mean, we do a lot of things that are very powerful, but this was extremely so. You know, not killing the butterfly. I fried a few. My hands are so hot. I couldn't help it. But standing there and executing it as well as I could, it just feels so powerful. You've my arms just feel, I mean, you know, they're extremely substantial and not at the same time. It's just that weird thing. And I was talking to somebody today about okay, so we were doing something with our hands, and it's like, but always being mindful of your feet. You know, it's like you don't want to, it was like Jonathan saying, you know, kinking the hose, you know, losing the nails in his hands. Well, if you're not aware of your feet, you know, set that whole stage up, you know, my feet, my feet, my feet. And then we go into this, and still there's that connection. And it's, to me, the power in that is just, it's mind-boggling. It is. It's just for
Good.
butterflies. Anybody want to fried butterfly?
Fried butterflies. I know what I'm having for dinner.
But very cool. Just very, very cool. Very cool.
Beautiful. Great. Good. Anybody else? Oh, Debbie.
I was like Valerie, thinking, okay, gotta also think of my feet. And I think of the three nails, but when I was thinking of claws, I was thinking of claws, toenails as well. And the thought came to me because it just, you could feel them growing. I thought, oh, great, I'm gonna have to cut all my nails tonight. Everything just seemed like it was, the energy was forcing it out.
I get that. My fingernails get itchy. It's like I feel the chi. It's like But it's the price we pay for for wood chi. Great. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you all so much. It's been great. Good.
Love
Thank
you,
for-
Maria.
Thanks, Maria.
I love you guys.
Thank you.
Of all of you.
Thank you.
See y'all.
Nice to see everyone.
Stay warm.